It all started with Johnny Wellington back in middle school. I remember wearing a white sundress that day, my hair tied in a ponytail. Johnny kissed me on the playground, just a quick peck before he ran off with his friends, who laughed and teased him as usual. That was my first kiss, and it was also the first time I realized I was different. When Johnny's lips touched mine, I felt something strange, like they were silently telling me a story, a warning disguised as affection. In a flash, I saw why his last relationship ended with Shelley. Frankenworms? Ew. I heard him say, mimicking a gag. I don't know what she had for lunch, but it tasted like tuna salad. His comment made Shelley, who overheard him, turn red and break up with him the next day. As word got around, every girl in school decided he had cooties. But for me, those visions were more than rumors. They were vivid memories of moments I couldn't unsee. That kiss started something. From then on, I couldn't kiss anyone without immediately seeing things about them that I'd rather not know. It didn't matter how great they seemed at first. My mind would reveal something that made me second-guess everything. My next kiss happened at 15, in a booth at Chili's, where romance and unlimited wings don't usually go together. It was date number 3 with this boy, and I thought he might be the one. But then we kissed, and I saw her, blonde hair falling over her shoulders, eyes red and teary, her mascara leaving faint trails down her cheeks. She was heartbroken. "Peter, I can't do this," she said, her lip quivering as she tried to stand her ground. Her pain was clear. He'd cheated on her. And just like that, my fondness for him evaporated. I tossed my napkin on the table, left the restaurant, and let him cover the bill. It wasn't until I was 23 that I dared to kiss someone again. Maybe it was the ticking biological clock or sheer curiosity that made me think, if I go on enough dates, I'll find someone who's different. After 15 attempts, I finally met Spencer Lancaster. Spencer wasn't like anyone else. He was outgoing, charming, and could strike up a conversation with anyone, making it feel completely natural. He approached me, asked me out, and I agreed without hesitation. The date was perfect. We laughed about a mishap he'd had at the grocery store, and as the restaurant closed, we couldn't stop giggling. On our way out, he mentioned how the server had kept circling our table. "Probably wanted us out half an hour ago," I joked. He nudged me, smiling. "Generous and considerate, too," I teased, beginning to feel the warm spark of genuine attraction. When he invited me back to his place, I found myself agreeing, maybe thanks to the wine or the effortless way he put me at ease. His apartment was spotless, almost too spotless, like it had been bleached from top to bottom. "Sorry about the smell," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. I spilled some bleach trying to get a stain out of a shirt. Embarrassed, he opened a window while I kicked off my shoes and settled into his minimalist living room. As I waited, I looked around and noticed the decor, stark and modern, with pops of navy among the gray furniture. What caught my eye, though, was a strange vase shaped like a hand, an odd choice for someone like Spencer. He didn't seem like the artsy type, and I began to feel the familiar tug of doubt. Something wasn't adding up, but I tried to brush it off, hoping that maybe this time would be different. Expressions. But then again, who was I to judge? When he finally strolled into the room, he nodded toward the fridge and asked, "Want some water?" "No, I'm good, thanks," I replied, tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear as the open windows made the apartment feel a bit drafty. As he cracked open the fridge, I shifted awkwardly in my seat, something sharp poking at me. I reached underneath and found the culprit, a shiny gold clip, which he quickly grabbed from my hand. "Oh, sorry about that," Spencer chuckled, tossing it into a small hand-shaped vase. "My sister stayed here for about a week, and I'm still finding things she left behind." Warning sign number 2. "No worries," I smiled, patting the seat next to me. "Is she younger or older?" The rest of the evening was spent sharing family stories and another bottle of wine. Funny enough, both Spencer and I were the eldest siblings, and both our moms had strong beliefs in the power of essential oils. I teased him that bleach would give him cancer, still catching whiffs of its smell from time to time. He quickly quipped back, "Well, next time, I'll just douse my shirt in lemongrass." I laughed. Oh, obviously. Haven't you heard it works wonders? He grinned, watching me laugh, and as the night wore on, we grew closer on the couch. We were both a bit tipsy, and what started as playful banter turned into something more. I think a part of me knew that kissing him might reveal something I didn't want to see. So for the next half hour, I avoided it. Just once, I wanted to enjoy myself, to feel something besides disappointment. So when he carried me to his room, hinting at something beyond a kiss, I went along. When I woke the next morning, I stretched out across the bed, only to find his spot empty. Then I smelled it, fresh coffee and something that smelled a lot like French toast. My stomach rumbled as I got up, looking for my clothes from the previous night. After searching around, I realized with a blush that they were probably left scattered from the night before. I rifled through his closet for a solution, stopping on an oversized pink sweater with embroidered flowers trailing up one sleeve. With a quick glance at the label, I realized it was a nice, local brand, and his sister clearly had good taste. I slipped it on and padded into the kitchen, where Spencer was standing at the stove in nothing but dark sweatpants and a hand towel slung over his shoulder. Wrapping my arms around his waist, I nestled my head against his back and kissed the space between his shoulder blades. A small chuckle escaped him. Hungry. Starving, I replied, standing on my toes to playfully nip his shoulder. Hey, it's kiss the cook, not bite him, he laughed, spinning around to kiss me, his hand cupping my cheek to hold me in place. Please, don't do this, a voice whispered, choked with sobs. I froze. Her pleading voice broke free, her trembling lips quivering. You've seen too much, Spencer muttered, a twisted gleam in his eye as he pinned her to the couch. I promise, she stammered, I won't tell anyone. That's what the last one said, he replied, glancing around before his eyes fell on a pillow. Leah, I'm sorry, but I won't make that mistake again. The girl's fists flew up to his face, striking hard enough to make him curse as blood dripped from his nose and onto the collar of his white button-down. Fury ignited in his eyes as he wrestled to restrain her. She fought with everything she had, but I already knew how this would end. After a few moments, I was right. He pulled the pillow away, and I froze, staring at a pink, oversized sweater with embroidered flowers on one of the sleeves. Natalie? Hey, are you okay? Spencer's voice cut through my trance. He was looking at me with concern etched into his features. Did I lose you for a second? I stumbled back, bending over as I vomited on the floor. Tears blurred my vision as I clung to the counter, the room spinning out of control. Stay here. I'm going to grab some towels from the bathroom. It'll be okay, he said, hurrying out of the room. The second he left, I grabbed my purse from the table by the front door and ran, barefoot, down the street. I didn't care that I wasn't wearing pants or shoes, or that my hair was a tangled mess. All I cared about was getting home. By the time I finally made it back to my apartment, my feet were raw, and my mouth tasted of bile after throwing up 3 more times along the way. As soon as I locked the door, I tore off the sweater, throwing it onto the floor. I paced around for a good hour before I finally made the call I needed to. Every time I saw that crumpled pink sweater lying on the floor, something inside me twisted and tightened, choking me until I could barely breathe. 911? What's your emergency? I sat there for a moment, trying to gather my thoughts. How could I explain this in a way that made sense? Hello? 911? What's your emergency? I began, struggling to push the words out. Sorry, could you say that again? I'm having trouble understanding you. I knew how it would sound, but before I could stop myself, it was already too late. Every time I kiss someone, I see how their last relationship ended. My hands shook as I gripped the phone tightly. This time, I saw a murder,